Can I tell you though, this heart of mine sometimes it bothers me that some people's like, you got such a big heart. The fact that you see me, I
Hmm.
love that.
Hmm.
But boy, does it suck when somebody tries to take that heart for granted. But can I tell you, the older I've got, I can see it quicker and clearer now.
Yep.
And I don't get, because I used to get really angry about it. Like, how
Hmm.
dare you try to get over on me and da da
Hmm.
da. Now I just bless them and walk away.
Hmm.
Do
Yep.
you know what I mean? And
Yep.
because I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with you about me and what kind of person I know I am. And if it doesn't work, I bless you and I keep it moving. I do.
Yes.
And I feel a lot happier because I used to hold on to negativity and I just could see it in my face. I was
Hmm.
sad. It was like, oh, wait, I'm too fine to be looking like that. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about your book, Love Louder, 33 Ways to Amplify Your Life, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those things. This book, oftentimes when you set out to write a book, the book ends up writing you, and this was no different. As I mentioned earlier, I was in special education classes my whole sort of elementary through high school because
I find
of
that so surprising.
yeah, exactly. That's the
Right.
interesting thing is like
Yeah.
I was actually really, really amazing in so many ways, but my brain doesn't work the same. So I have dyslexia and things of that nature.
Got it. So it's like instead of them embracing and figuring out what was different about you that made you unique,
Yeah.
they try to say, oh, something's wrong with him. He can't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't even read books until, I was probably 21. I just cheated and then they passed me through and it was just the whole thing. And the school system failed me, but I'm grateful for it and at this time. But to make a long story short, Love Louder it's 33 tips and tools that I use on a daily, weekly basis
Hmm.
to keep my vibration high. To me, when we amplify our love, we automatically amplify our lives. And there's a huge misconception about what love is. Like you said it earlier, and I'll say it differently, but the same. Your no actually reveals your yes. So
Mm.
one of the most loving things I could do for myself and another is to say no.
Yes.
And yet, the way that we're taught that if you say no to somebody, you are not being loving. We're
Yes.
taught that if you are firm with your boundaries, that you are
Yes.
somehow a bitch or a pushover or X,
Hmm.
Y, and Z. And no, no, no.
Right. No.
I love me enough and I love
Yes.
you enough to not let you run over me. And
That
so,
part. That
yeah,
part.
real talk.
All
So,
right. So tell me when you say 33 ways, give me your top 5 ways.
so for instance, and this is, something that you experience and myself as well, but just knowing that the key to living is giving, right?
Okay.
So when in doubt, focus out. Um, Oftentimes, people can get caught up in sort of a whirlwind of their own emotions and thoughts and feelings. And so, what I teach in my book, and I do for myself, is when I'm getting caught up in all of the minutia and the crap about woe is me, I just say, who can I bless today,
Mm.
right? And so I'll go and look for people to support, to
Hmm.
serve, to help, and every single time I do that, it raises my vibration and it reminds me of what's really happening. And so like that's one. Uh, Gratitude,
Yes.
but not just regular gratitude. So one of the things I teach is I have my clients do something called joy alarms,
Mm.
where they set 3 to 5 alarms in their phone, and every time those alarms go off, they are to burst into spontaneous joy, right?
Hmm.
Reasonless joy. The alarm goes off, you dance, you get big, and you allow the cells of your body. Remember, we are also biology. There's 3 centers of intelligence: head, heart, gut, or mind, heart, and our gut. And so when all 3 of those are firing at the same time and we're in our joy and we're celebrating life, what happens is that the cells of our body, like, we're not meant to age the way we do,
Hmm.
but because of the way we think, the way we stress, and the way we eat, most people age in a particular way. There's been multiple studies of people who are like what we would deem crazy, who have no concept of time, and they'll be 70 years old, but look like a 40-year-old because they don't have a concept. Oh, I'm 70, now I should be X.
Right.
Oh, I'm 50, now I should be X. Oh, I'm 60, now I X, right? So getting into gratitude and into joy, reasonless joy, is one of the biggest keys to loving louder. I talk about in the book how I am a recovering people pleaser, and how
Me
um,
too.
for real, for real. That was one of the biggest ones for me, is learning how to recognize when I was doing that and what to do with it.
Mm.
And so there's so much in there for anybody listening who wants to have a peek or read my book. I highly suggest it, even though it's me. It is really good. It's bite-sized, it's practical, it's easy to get to, and anybody can read it. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or anything like
I
that.
love that. See, that's you're talking a language that you're like, I'm talking to you, not at you. You
Boom.
know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to hit you with a whole bunch of big words. So you go, now what the hell does that mean? But
Yep.
you're like, let me help you understand.
Yep.
I want to ask you a question.
Mm.
How can we overcome fear?
Mm. Well, and I'm sure you've heard this before, fear is false evidence appearing real. So one of the best ways to overcome fear is to shine a light on it, right? So,
Mm.
and to really look and ask ourselves, what's really true here, and what am I projecting? What am I making true that hasn't happened yet? Oftentimes, the things we are most fearful about are us going into the past and sifting through the past and saying, well, this happened last time, or this happened to so and so, so it's probably going to happen over there, right? So I'll give the example of somebody who's been through a divorce or been through a terrible breakup, right?
Right.
Often, and I've coached a lot of people on this, where they'll say, oh, I'm just not ready to date again, and like I hate dating apps, and yeah, I got you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. But the truth is, is that they're afraid of being hurt again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So how do you then say, okay, I'm gonna throw that away and I'm gonna dive back into the shallow end of the pool? Well, no, not the
Hmm.
shallow end of the pool head first, because I think once you get a little bit older, you learn to take your time
Yep.
to get to know people.
Yep.
So, because I hate dating, but then it makes you feel so good. These endorphins and everything goes off, and you're like,
Yes.
yes, it feels great. That
Yes.
I love love, and I want to feel love, but I have that fear of don't try to get over on me or hurt me. You
Yep.
know?
I hear that. I understand that. And I honor that. And I'm going to challenge you in that statement, not just you, but anybody. And like I said, this is so common that this shows up often. We as a society have been taught that relationships that are longer are worthy, and
Hmm.
relationships that are shorter are bad and wrong and messed up in X, Y, and Z. And so if we take the expectation and the concept of how much time makes something worth my time,
Hmm.
the game changes, because now I enter it into the same way that you would when you were 7-year-old Vivica Fox, when you were 13-year-old Vivica Fox, who would meet a group of kids or play with somebody, and you would just be in your joy. And however long that lasted,
You were
you
cool
would
with it. Yeah.
exactly, right. There's not
Yeah.
these attachments to, oh, now you need to be my husband, and now we need to,
Oh God,
X, Y, and
yes.
Z, and now
Yeah.
we need to go down this route, right?
Right.
When we take that off the table and we say, hey, out of 7.7 billion people, this person found their way into my world.
Hmm.
There's probably some magic here. There's probably something I can learn. There's probably a few laughs. There's probably in a relationship they're going to introduce me to. There's probably something that I need to learn. And so instead of me entering from, oh my God, don't hurt me, I get to enter this from curiosity. I get to enter it from, oh, what's here for me, right? If I'm not attached to even my wife, right? I'm just going to go down this road with you guys, because I know some
Okay.
of you guys are like, yo, that's easy for you to say. I did not marry my wife with the terms of forever, and neither
Hmm.
did she. We didn't sign up for forever. We signed up for growth. We signed up for love. We signed up for the journey and for the ride. And whenever that
Hmm.
ride ends, whether it's death or whether it's 10 years from now, whenever that is, we have surrendered to that piece,
Right.
because um, you know, at this point, the divorce rate is higher than it's ever been. And
Right.
one of the,
Pandemic.
yes, but
That's
even
because people are spending time together. Who would have thought? Right? Yeah.
for real, for
Yeah.
real.
Who would have thought?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Right.
But so many people, even before the pandemic, recognized what their parents did and how unhappy their parents were, even though
Hmm.
they stuck it out for 50 years and then X, Y, and Z, right? We only get one shot in this skin suit.
Hmm.
And there's also a stigma and a shame of like, you've been divorced or you've been this or you've been that. Like, if we take all that off the table, and I get it, right? It sucks to be hurt.
Right.
But oftentimes we get hurt because there's some part of us that's withholding and not willing to speak our truth in the moments when we see them, when we experience them, when we feel them. And okay, it's like the difference between vulnerability and transparency, right? Vulnerability means there's something that you can hurt me with, right? If I tell you this information, you can hurt me. Transparency, when I'm sharing transparently, it means that I know who my daddy is. I know who my mommy is, and it's not you, right? And so anything I share with you, use it, don't use it. Leave me, stay with me. Whatever you do, I'm still perfect, whole, and complete, but not finished. And that is the game, is to be
Right.
so in love with oneself that another can't hurt me.
See, and that's how I feel. That's what I said. How can you receive love if you don't love yourself from Jump Street? Like I think for me, like, I decided to like focus on career and like not and not look for others to make me happy. And like I said, it was the most successful when I got shed at people.
Mhm.
But it's like now I'm ready to like share and love again.
Yes.
And I'm just the kind of person at this point now that I'm like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. I'm good in my own skin. You either want to come over here and roll with me and have a good time, or you can keep it moving.com.